Part 36. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 352. Chapter 352, Silly and Young. Li Hei smiled awkwardly and let go of the hand he had been holding. Boss, I think we might not be suitable. Just think of her as having low self-esteem. He Anyang was a little confused and felt a little disappointed after his hand was released. Then just tell me. Is there anything inappropriate? He really didn't understand this. Standing at the door of the cinema, looking at Li Hei who was a little nervous, He Anyang couldn't bear to embarrass her. Okay, let's find a place first, and then sit down and get to know each other better. Similarly, before talking to the person you want to talk to, you need to get to know each other's family. Her family is local from Shenzhen City, but he is a child from a small rural area in southern province. The difference is indeed a bit big, and I don't know if she will dislike me. Compared to Li Hei, He Anyang has even lower self-esteem. Li Hei wanted to refuse, but after his hand was held again, she could not say any words of refusal. Came to a foreign restaurant, He Anyang ordered some food. It was not the first time for him to come to such a place, but he didn't like the food here very much. It's better to go home and eat the food cooked by my sister-in-law. But he knows better that many people in Shenzhen City like this place very much. Li Hei has never been here, and besides, she doesn't have the ability to come. Spending money here is very valuable, and it is not a place where she can spend money. He Anyang saw her discomfort and felt a little regretful. He would not have come here if he had known better. Is this your first time here? I still expressed concern. Li Hei nodded. Well, I haven't been here before. She didn't hide it either. It's okay, it's always the first time, I'll teach you. The meal was finished under He Anyang's guidance. The conversation could not be concluded. Looking at the darkening sky outside, He Anyang sighed, it's getting late, I'll take you back. Li Hei did not refuse this time. Walking on the road, it was very lively with people coming and going, but the atmosphere between the two of them was a bit quiet. He Anyang couldn't help but ask first, I'm serious, I want to have a relationship with you. My family's situation is very simple. My parents are both here, and I have two younger brothers. The second younger brother works at home. The third brother is in school. He Anyang began to tell Li Hei about his family's situation. After hearing this, Li Enyi realized that the store did not belong to him. All along, they had thought that the store belonged to the boss. So you help your sister-in-law work? Li Hei didn't know why, but after listening to his words, she felt much more at ease. Yes, my sister-in-law is very kind. You have also met the person who came here with 3 children last time, He Anyang said with a smile. Li Hei thought about it and found that she was indeed a good person and easy to talk to, but she was a bit cold. Last time she accidentally spilled some dry goods, she helped her pick them up. Seeing her nodding in approval, He Anyang laughed, that's all the situation in my family. Look at us. He Anyang stopped. Actually, he didn't even know where he had gone. The surroundings had long ceased to be lively and full of people. Li Hei looked at him and spoke softly about her family's situation. My family's situation is very simple. Both my parents have their own jobs, but my dad was injured early due to work reasons. Taking medicine costs a lot at home. Me and my mother's salary are almost equal to my father's medical treatment, so my family's conditions are really not good. Maybe it's about sad things. Li Hei is filled with sadness. He Anyang never asked her father how he was injured. It's okay, he will be fine in the future, he comforted. Li Hei smiled and said, it's okay. We know my father's condition. It's just that the family is poor. That's okay. I'm the only daughter in my family. If. She would be very embarrassed to say what happened later. Actually, they are developing too fast. Seeing her shyness, He Anyong took over what she said. Don't worry, I won't dislike your dad. If you agree, your dad will be my dad from now on, and I will be filial to him like my biological father. He can do this. Ensure. Lee Hai looked at the person in front of him blankly. In fact, the boss was really a good person, but was she worthy of him? Even if he is looking after the store for his sister-in-law, it is obvious that his conditions are much better than his own. And now the store has set up a vegetable base. The boss is in charge of these things. Is she worthy of him? Lee Hai fell into self-doubt. Unable to wait for her answer, He Anyong was not in a hurry. A good meal is not afraid of being late, and a good wine is not afraid of deep alleys. Since he was moved, then he won't let go. That night, He Anyong sent the man home first and then admitted the door. When the parents of the Lee family saw their woman being sent back by a man, they were on guard. When they heard that he was the owner of his daughter's shop, they both had smiles on their faces. They were a very simple couple. When he returned home, He Anyong was caught by Grandma He. Anyong, come here, tell me what's going on. Grandma He's desire for gossip persisted. Migzu also became energetic. As soon as her grandma came back, she told her about Anyong taking the girl away. She only regretted that she was not there at that time. Xiao and the others also started to cheer. Uncle Anyong, do we have an aunt? He Anyong's face turned red. What nonsense are you talking about? It's still early. Being stared at by so many pairs of eyes, He Anyong knew that if he didn't reveal something, he wouldn't have a good time tonight. Third grandma has good taste, she flattered her. The situation in her family is not particularly good, but I am also from the countryside. I will not dislike her. She is very uneasy. Third grandma, why do you think such a good girl like her is so? It's impossible to describe her conflict. He could feel that she had a good impression of him, but in the end she was very conflicted. After hearing this, Grandma He smiled. I also heard about some of these things. I didn't expect that the little girl told you for the first time. I just said she is good. Grandma He is an old lady, she has met many people, but this is the first time I have seen such an honest girl. That girl doesn't portray herself as superior and then let the man beg to come to her. When she arrived, she was afraid that others would take a fancy to her. Yeah, He Anyong nodded quickly. That's right, and it doesn't matter whose opinion it is, the flattery was so natural. Mei Shui rolled her eyes. That's enough, let's get down to business. If this girl didn't agree in the end, it means you're not good enough. Mei Shui's attack was very direct. Sister-in-law, how can you blame me for this? I think I am very good, that is, compared with before, he is completely different now. Mei Shui gave him a slap in the face. Young man, you have to be motivated. If you have better conditions, maybe someone will like you. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 353. Chapter 353, Lee Hai's Concerns. Grandma He shook her head. Xiaoxiu, you are wrong. That girl is really good. She didn't agree to Xiaoyang because she felt she was not good enough for Xiaoyang, not because Xiaoyang was not good enough. Grandma He saw the crux of the matter at a glance. Mei Shui also knew that it was just to give Xiaoyang a blow. Grandma, let them handle this matter themselves. You can just take action at the critical moment, Mei Shui said to her grandma with a smile. Well, I think so too. Don't miss that girl Xiaoyang. Of course Grandma He understood. She can't force others to agree, it depends on Xiaoyang himself. He Anyong grinned stupidly. I will listen to you. Xiao and the others finally found an opportunity. Uncle Anyong, can we go see my little aunt during the holiday? I'm going to. Uncle Xiaoyang, you can't forget Xiaocheng. Xiaocheng only eats a little. Looking at the three children playing with their treasures, The atmosphere in the living room was very warm, except that the man of the house had not returned. Hans is also a miserable person. He finally gets along well with his wife, but he is busy with work all day long. The station in Shenzhen City has been established, but there are still several nearby provinces that he has to work on, so he really doesn't have much time to go home. No, he had only been at home with his wife for a few days, and he was about to leave for Guangzhou. Shenzhen is in Guangzhou next door, which is not far away, but he can't call back and forth in a day, which will cause a huge delay. I can only endure the pain of losing the night with my wife. But the phone has not been disconnected all day. I don't know what method he used to make Mei Shui, a man of few words, chat with him for half an hour. Grandma he complained at home every day that the phone bill was expensive. He Anyong finally has something to look for here. In order for him to find a partner, Grandma he handed over all the village affairs to Mei Shui, saving her from having to make phone calls at home every day. Save money. As for the Li family, as soon as he Anyong left, Li's parents looked at their daughter nervously. Li Hai is a filial person, and she will not hide her parents' secrets. Han directly talked about what happened between he Anyong and her. After hearing this, Father Li sighed, "It's Dad who has dragged you down. If it weren't for his illness, how could his daughter be like this?" Li Hai sat next to her father and hugged his arm. "What are you talking about, Dad? Where did I come from without you? How can I be called a drag? If he thinks you are a drag, then I won't be nice to him." In her heart, at least her father is more important than her boss now. Even in the future, this cannot be compared. Father Li felt very warm when he heard this, but he also knew that he had really dragged his daughter down. If it hadn't been for him, how could no one come to propose marriage to her at this age? Mother Li never stopped smiling when she saw the faces of their father and daughter. "Okay, it's still early, but Xiaoi, will he return to the village in the future?" This is what she is most worried about. If they leave, they. Li Hai really had not thought about this problem before, and frowned. "Mom, I don't know." At this time, she became confused again. She is the only daughter in the family. If she wants to leave Shenzhen City, then she. Compared with the excitement just now, Li Hai felt uncomfortable now. There were really a lot of problems faced. Li Hai and he Anyong couldn't sleep well all night. He Anyong was worried that she would not agree to him, while Li Hai was worried that he would leave Shenzhen City. No matter what, a new day will come. The next day, he Anyong came to the store early. He was not so early in the past, except when he was the only one in the store. After recruiting people, he never came so early. Today, he Anyong's eyes always drifted outside unconsciously, looking at the people walking, looking forward to a figure. When Li Hai came, he saw the people sitting at the door and felt a little uncomfortable. But as usual, I approached him with a smile. "Good morning, boss." Seeing the smile on her face, he Anyong also laughed. "Good morning, have you had breakfast? I brought you some food. Are you hungry? Do you want to eat something?" He Anyong said nervously. Seeing him like this, Li Hai felt even more sad. She could hardly keep the smile on her face. She approached him and said, "Boss, I want to ask you something." At this time, Xiao Sun and the others also came to the store and saw the boss talking to Xiao Li. They smiled and said hello and entered the store. "You come with me." He Anyong did not shy away from suspicion and took Li Hai directly to the house where he usually rested. This place is transparent, you can see the outside, and the outside can also see the inside, and you are not afraid of others thinking too much. Xiao Sun and the others all knew that Xiao Li had a sick father at home. Seeing that her face was not very good, she probably wanted to borrow money from the boss. They didn't think much and started working directly. In the room, he Anyong closed the door and asked Li Hai to sit down. "What's the matter?" He poured her a glass of water. Their store opened relatively early, and it was still a bit cold in the morning. Boss, if we were really together, would you leave Shenzhen City? Or go back to the village? No matter how nervous she was, she still wanted to know the answer as soon as possible. He Anyang didn't expect that she would ask this question, but he really couldn't decide whether to stay or go, so he didn't know how to answer her question. He was really not sure. His sister-in-law had long said that she would open many stores in the future and he would manage them. If he managed them, they would definitely not stay in one place. Seeing him like this, Li Hai felt very sad. Boss, I don't think we are suitable. You also know the situation in my family. I will not leave my parents. They only have one daughter. If I leave, then what should they do? After saying that, Li Hai's eyes turned red. She was really sad. She was sad that the bud of emotion that had only begun yesterday was broken by her own hands. He Anyang also came back from his thoughts and couldn't bear to see her sad face. Hey, that's not what I meant. As you know, this store belongs to my sister-in-law, and a vegetable base has been built in Shenzhen City. It is impossible for me to leave Shenzhen City in the past few years, but I can't say for sure in the future. When he returns to the village, he doesn't have to think about it. It's not that he doesn't miss her, but that he has greater development outside and he prefers his current life. It's impossible to go back to the village. I still have two younger brothers at home. My parents are in good health. It's okay if I'm not at home. But when they get old, they will definitely live with us. Hey, don't leave Shenzhen. I really can't guarantee you this. He can't guarantee it either. But he didn't want her to look sad because of this incident. After listening to his words, Li Hai understood, but what about my parents? This was what she couldn't let go of the most. Okay, the author forgot the time again. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 354. Chapter 354, Copy. He Anyang approached her and held her hand tightly. It's okay, you can come with us. He wouldn't mind at all. How is this possible? Let's not talk about outsiders. If this is the case, what will his parents think? Nothing is impossible. Everyone in my family is very easy to get along with. Don't worry, my parents won't have any objections. He has the ability to support his father-in-law and mother-in-law. If it were before, his mother would definitely have objections. And now, sure not. Regardless of whether Aunt Yang agrees or not, He Anyang's marriage is really worrying the family. Hey, are you willing to talk to me about a partner? He Anyang finally became smarter and became very excited. Li Hai couldn't make a decision for a moment, so she broke away from his hand and said, "What are you talking about? It's working time now, I'll go out and be busy first." Just now she glanced outside and saw Sister Sun looking at her and her boss. Looking at her fleeing back, He Anyang's heart blossomed. He Anyang's place is sweet, but Mei Shui is bitter. Grandma woke her up early in the morning and asked her to come to the village and keep an eye on her. There is Xiao Zhang and Xiao Li here, really? Boss, you are here, the vegetables here are very good. Xiao Zhang came over immediately when he saw Mei Shui coming. You should know that the boss has not been here for some time. He used to run home to report to her about the situation in the village. He hasn't been there since last time. Looking at the great changes in the village, Mei Shui felt that Xiao Zhang and the others were really capable. Well, thank you for your hard work, Mei Shui said sincerely. We should do it. Boss, are you going to see what's going on with Uncle Li? I don't know what Uncle Li thinks, but he actually planted trees in the season and said that they would definitely survive. What kind of tree did he pull over this time? Mei Shui never asked about Uncle Li's matter from the beginning. It seems to be peach trees and grapevines, but he said that the weather here is good, and if we plant some tropical fruit trees next spring, they will definitely grow well. Xiao Zhang elaborated on Uncle Li's original words as he walked. Let him go, he will leave when the mountain is full. What a headache. The village is in good order under the management of Xiao Zhang and others, so there is really no use for her. Xiao Zhang, I want to go for a walk by myself. You go ahead and do your work first. There are quite a lot of people working in the fields. Xiaobai also came with Mei Shui this time. He is getting lazier and lazier now, and he has become a family dog. Xiaobai, let's go, let's water some fruit trees. I'm afraid of wasting money. There are so many trees, I don't know when she will go there. Mei Shui regrets it now. Had she known it, she would not have let Hians buy so many mountains. Master, why don't you go directly to the reservoir to fill the space with water? Xiao Bai couldn't understand what the master was thinking. This saves a lot of trouble. Meixiu was speechless. Oh, I'm afraid you have forgotten those little animals in the mountains behind our house. The animals in that mountain made and Wen and Anshan earn money. What are you afraid of? It would be great if you can catch them and sell them when the time comes, and you will get an extra income. This was how we used to do it. What if you hurt someone? How can you be sure that there are no venomous snakes? Mei Shui felt that Xiaobai was getting more and more stupid now. Let Xiaohong go, Xiaobai said matter-of-factly. That's right, Mei Shui has even forgotten about Xiaohong. There's nothing she can do about it, because she's just a snake and can't appear in front of people. I really forgot if you didn't tell me. After saying that, Mei Shui's snake moved, and a small snake appeared in her hand. Xiaohong, are you willing to stay here for a while? Xiaohong is smart and is not afraid of hurting others. Xiaohong was very happy to see her master and stuck out her tongue. But when she heard her master's words, she felt sad and wanted to separate as soon as they met. Don't be too sad. Xiaohong's sadness was heard by Xiaobai, and she rolled her eyes. If it hadn't turned into a dog, its owner would have forgotten it long ago. Right now, the owner doesn't pay attention to it, and stays with the old lady as a pet. Master, Xiaohong said she couldn't bear to leave you. Xiaobai saw that Xiaohong was so pitiful and conveyed the message to her. Mei Shui raised her hand and looked at Xiaohong. There's nothing to be reluctant about. I'll be coming here recently. I want to put some space water here. I'm afraid that poison will come and hurt people. Mei Shui explained to Xiaohong that she also hoped that it could stay. Of course, it would be fine if it didn't want to. Just leave Xiaobai behind. Fortunately, Xiaobai doesn't know what the master is thinking, otherwise he regretted sending the message to Xiaohong. Isn't he a good family dog? Xiaohong saw her master was in a dilemma, so she nodded and agreed. Little Hong, be good, let's do this. You just stay in the water and practice, leave the non-toxic ones alone, and just drive away the poisonous animals when they come, Mei Shui ordered. There is also a stream here, but the stream is not big. Everyone digs their own reservoirs at the foot of the mountain. And she has a lot of land here, so she directly bought the pond that used to be owned by someone in the village, and the mud in it was also cleaned. It is now used as a reservoir. Meixiu lazily ran all over the mountain and took Xiaobai and Xiaohong directly to the pool. There is no one around. Maybe it has only been watered in the past 2 days and no one comes here. Mei Shui put Xiaohong in first, and then added space water into it. I hope that the water and soil here will also undergo qualitative changes in the future, so that we won't have to worry so much. 10 minutes later, Mei Shui took Xiaobai out of the pool, found Xiao Zhang and Xiao Li, and told them about the water turning into animals. Whether the villagers caught it or they caught it, she would charge it according to the market price. Boss, are there any animals by the pool? They have been here for so long, but are there any animals by the pool? I just saw a lot, maybe it's been cold recently. Mei Shui made an excuse at random. Neither Xiaozhang nor Xiaoli are locals in Shenzhen City, and they don't know much about this situation, so they thought what the boss said might be true. That's a good feeling, then the people in the village will be able to earn some money to celebrate the new year. At this point, everyone laughed. Well, if there are snakes, please remember to be careful. If you are bitten by a poisonous one, you will be in trouble. Xiaoxiu knew that many poisons are indestructible. Don't worry, these people in the village are all natives, and they must understand everyone is not stupid. Okay, that's it for today. I'm going back first. I'll be here in the next few days. You should be careful and don't be attacked by animals. Mei Shui was actually the most worried about them. However, we have to find a way to build some houses here to accommodate people who will work here in the future. We cannot live in villagers' homes. After all, I still have no money. Lack of money is the original sin. I originally wanted to give them a better life, but my ability is insufficient. Come, please vote, please subscribe, thank you all. End of this chapter. 80s, the farmer's wife is the boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 355. Chapter 355, the food is ready. After Mei Shui left, Xiaozhang and Xiaoli went directly to the pool. But when they saw those hands on the edge of the pool, the two of them were dumbfounded. Hurriedly called Uncle Shen and Uncle Li over and asked them if they knew what the situation was. Those who fly in the sky, those who swim in the water, and those who walk on the ground are all gathered around the pool. Fortunately, Xiaohong maintains order here, otherwise it might be even more chaotic. Mei Shui didn't know how much fright she had caused. She thought she should discuss with Anyang about building a house in the village. Anyang had a smile on his face all day, and he didn't leave the store. He just stayed in his small room and stared outside. I don't know what kind of beautiful scenery outside makes him so charming. When Mei Shui came, she saw Anyang having there, and Li Hei standing outside with a shy look on her face. Coming to Anyang, Mei Shui found that he didn't even look at her, and knocked on the table in front of him hard. Stop being in a daze. The voice was a little loud, and Anyang was immediately awakened. Sister-in-law, sister-in-law, when did you come? Anyang was startled and immediately came to his senses. When he saw the person in front of him, he was stunned. Heh, is it so beautiful outside? Mei Shui found a stool and sat down. Anyang felt a little embarrassed. He glanced outside secretly and said, Sister-in-law, haha, why are you here? He immediately changed the subject. Meixiu was too lazy to pay attention to him. She told him about the village affairs and asked him to run to the village in the next few days to collect wild animals. Sister-in-law, this is a good thing. Now people in the village will definitely not speak ill of us behind our backs. You know, many people in the village have been causing damage. If they weren't all a group of grown men, I'm afraid. What, do the villagers have any opinions? Mei Shui really didn't know about this. No, let's go ahead. If we have serious opinions, they say that the wages we pay are low, that we can't make money growing vegetables, etc. There are all kinds of unpleasant things. They are more venomous than the people in our village. Speaking of this matter, Anyang was very angry. Okay, I believe you can handle it. Remember to go and take a look tomorrow. Don't just sit in the store and act like a fool. Mei Shui rolled her eyes at him and walked out directly. Originally, I wanted to give him a few more days to let him marry his wife, but who would have thought that he would actually be in a daze in the shop? It was really useless. Mei Shui took Xiaobai shopping for a while and then returned home. Because Mei Shui put water in the village, a large number of animals, big and small, came over. Even the wild boars from further away came, which Mei Shui did not expect. Fortunately, there are many people in the village, and the wild boars that come here never come back. So much so that Anyang made a lot of money. Another month passed, November came, and Qianxiang came to Shenzhen City again. This time he came for the opening of a new store. No, He got busy as soon as he arrived. Everything else in the store has almost been taken care of, but the vegetables have not been decided yet. He decided to go find Mei Shui. He knew from last time that they had set up a vegetable base like his in Shenzhen City, and he didn't know if vegetables could be produced now. Grandma, he was very happy with the arrival of Qian Xiang. Xiang, come in quickly, why are you here, Grandma, he said excitedly when she saw Qian Xiang as soon as she opened the door. Grandma, I came to see you. Are you still used to being in Shenzhen City? Qian Xiang came to see Mei Shui, but he also wanted to see Grandma. It's so far away from home, and I don't know if she's used to it here. His old man is not used to leaving home. This time the old man went to Kyoto and talked about life in Hejia village every day. If Kyoto hadn't been busy, he would have gone back to the village long ago. Habit, have you eaten? Why did you come here at this time? Has your hotel been decorated, Grandma? He also liked Qian Xiang very much. The renovation is done, why don't I come over to prepare for the opening ceremony, and then Grandma, you must go and have fun, Qian Xiang sincerely invited. Grandma, he nodded quickly, go, of course, how could she not go? I will come to pick you up then, and you will wait for me at home. After the two chatted for a while, Qian Xiang asked about Mei Shui. Then you have to wait a while. Xiaoxiu has gone to the village and won't be back until noon. All the vegetables in the village have been picked. You have to take a look at the results of more than 2 months. If she hadn't had to wait for the children to come back in the afternoon, she would have followed. Qian Xiang didn't expect such a big surprise when he came over. Grandma, what did you say? Can you pick all the vegetables in the field? You can't blame him for making a fuss. No, those vegetables are just like those in the village. They grow very fast and they grow well. Speaking of her own vegetables, Grandma, he had a smile on her face. Grandma, let me go over there and have a look. He came just for the food. Can you find it, Grandma? He was a little worried, but she also knew why he was so anxious. It's okay, I can ask. It's not far, so if you can't find it, just ask someone. Nikeng, it's called Yanlu village, don't get it wrong, Grandma. He was a little worried and told him. Okay, thank you, Grandma, I've written it down. Qian Xiang stood up and said, Grandma, next time I come to see you, I'll go over first. Okay, go, be careful on the road, Grandma. He sent people out. Grandma, please go back to the house. I will come home for dinner in the evening, and you have to cook for me. Seeing his grandma liking him so much, Qian Xiang felt warm in his heart. Okay, Grandma will make you some chicken soup to replenish your health. Qian Xiang asked the driver to drive to Yanlu village. After the car started, he saw his grandma still standing at the door watching him. Mr. Qian, the old lady is still standing. Well, drive faster, don't let the old lady see you. Qian Xiang was very happy. Grandma, he walked slowly into the house until the car was out of sight. In Yanlu village, today is a great harvest day, and many people from the village have been invited to harvest together. Mei Shui, He Ans and He Eniang are all here. Brother Ans, we can't sell all these vegetables even if we pick them. This is too much, there are so many on the mountain. It's okay, the Intercontinental Hotel will be opening soon. They will share the responsibility for these dishes without fear of spoilage. He Ans actually didn't know what he was doing. Mei Shui looked at them like this and said speechlessly, then why don't we open another store ourselves? Shenzhen City is so big. Sister-in-law is right, I think it's feasible. Upon hearing this, He Eniang's eyes lit up. Indeed, they definitely earn less by selling to hotels than they earn by retailing. He Ans glanced at He Eniang and asked, do you have time recently? Decorating a store takes time. You know, the matter between He Eniang and Li Hei is almost settled. Can he run away alone? The internet was cut off at home, and I was also drunk. The power was cut off and the internet was cut off again. The guy who repaired the wires cut the network cable short. What a talented person. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 356. Chapter 356, Qianziang arrives. Mei Shui did not have this worry. Why not let Li Hai be in charge of a store? It happened that the couple worked for her together. He Anyang was excited. Sister-in-law, can this be done? She doesn't know anything. He was a little worried, but he was also very excited. I think she knows more about the store than you. Don't think that she doesn't understand the store because she has been there for a long time. Li Hai is indeed a willing person. Hians looked at Xiaoxiu with a smile. He might be the only one who knows her thoughts. He leaned close to her ear. You really don't want to find a labor force, he said this so softly that He Anyang couldn't hear it. Meixia glared at him and said, shut up this man, don't go too far. The people on the mountain are very energetic. Picking vegetables is not a big physical job, both men and women can do it, and everyone's wages are quite high, so everyone is more attentive than working for their own family. When Qianziang arrived, he saw the open space filled with vegetables. Not to mention, there were more vegetables than those in Hejia village. Congratulations Ans, Mei Shui. Qianziang ran towards them quickly. The road is easy to find and the traffic is very convenient. Hearing a familiar voice, the two of them looked back. Hey, the rich man is here, Mei Shui said happily. He Anyang also laughed. Finally you are here. I was thinking of calling you later. He stepped forward to greet you. Humph, I believe you. This man has many eyes. Okay, don't make trouble. Boss Jian is here just in time. Take a look. Do these dishes taste good to you? Mei Shui couldn't let Hians ruin her business. Qianziang immediately stepped forward to check. Okay, these are new varieties. Yes, very good. Needless to say, these vegetables are growing really well. Then do you want it? This place has always been just out of reach, and the food is finally ready, so we have to put in some tents. I want as much as I want. He couldn't sell one hotel, but he still had several. Beautiful, don't you want me to sell it in my own store? Hians immediately interrupted Qianziang. I also plan to open a few new stores, and it's impossible for you to take them all. It can be regarded as a clear path. Qianziang frowned. Why do you want to open so many stores? He thought, wouldn't it be better to directly provide for himself like Heian village did? Haha, why don't you give Xiaoxiu something to do? Heian said blindly with his eyes open. Mei Shui gave him a roll of her eyes, but she would not expose his lies at this time. Seeing how well they chatted, Mei Shui took He Anyang and left the venue directly. Uncle Shen is the happiest person because of the bumper harvest of vegetables here, which is of great benefit to his promotion. He is a person who serves the country and the people, and he cannot just grow vegetables here. Coming to Shen Ziqiang's side, Mei Shui looked into his excited eyes and shouted, Uncle Shen. Xiaoxiu, look, these dishes are beautiful and taste good. The people of our country will be blessed in the future. He was really happy. Well, you are blessed. The yield is definitely better than the old variety, but in terms of taste, she feels that he is overthinking it. Xiaoxiu, I will promote our vegetables next year so that more people can eat our new varieties. This is his biggest wish. Then I wish Uncle Shen to realize his wish as soon as possible. Mei Shui took a deep breath, but she still swallowed some of the words. I have to thank you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have such a large experimental land to let more people see the benefits of new varieties, whether it is Hejia village or Shenzhen city. Your seeds are better. From what I hear, I am afraid that Uncle Shen will leave next year, but Mei Shui feels that it is okay for Uncle Shen to leave because the people of the country need him. Uncle Li on the side was full of envy. His grafted fruit trees would not have great effects for a while. He would have to stay here for at least 2 years to see the final results. He also envied Shen Ziqiang. The new varieties they developed have finally opened up the market. As long as it is accepted by the market, Are you still worried that no one will be able to plant it in the future? This kind of promotion is much better than staying in the institute. I don't know what Qianziang and Hians discussed in the end. At noon, Qianziang called a car and directly transported all the vegetables. Of course, Hians also kept some, but the opening of new stores was postponed. It's not that he doesn't want to, but Qianziang is too shameless. Actually used grandma to play the emotional card. When Qianziang learned that the village, like Hejia village, had a lot of mountain goods, he started to make up his mind again. Unfortunately, this time Hians refused to give in. He wants it, but everyone has to buy from him. He doesn't want to make any money. Qianziang knows how to be good and takes a step back. The village chief here in Yanla village, like the village chief in Hejia village, is a person with a long-term vision. After watching the harvest for a day, he found He Eniong and wanted to tell him about the vegetables grown by the villagers. Of course He Eniong has no objection. Anyway, he knows that no matter what others do, they can't compare to the taste and yield of the produce in his own land, and it will have no impact on them at all. The decision was made immediately and they asked Shenziqiang to buy the seeds. After the village chief received the answer, he was so excited that he cried. My mouth is full of words of thanks. Originally, he was very angry that the people in the village had sold off the fields and mountains, but now it seems that the boss is a good person. When Shenziqiang found out, he was even more excited than the village chief. That's called a person who is very motivated. It was almost dark when we left the village. Because Qianziang promised Grandma He that he would go back for dinner, Mei Shui, Hians and the others got into his car directly. Don't mention it, people who are bosses are different. It doesn't cost hundreds of thousands to get out of this car. What, do you like it? Seeing Mei Shui looking around, Qianziang asked with a smile after seeing it on the reflector. I like it, but my family doesn't have the money to buy it. She has been in this world for so long, and she has a thorough understanding of commodity prices. What are you afraid of? It's not like you don't have a car at home. Why don't you drive one back home? But can you drive? Qianziang said with a smile. Meixiu really wanted to say that she could, but she finally shook her head. No, besides, those cars don't belong to my family, they are the joint property of the three of them, so I'm embarrassed to drive them. Hians felt a little sad. Yes, there were so many cars in his fleet, whether they were trucks, buses or small cars like this, none of them belonged to his family. He held Xiaoxiu's hand tightly and said, it's okay. I'll buy you one next year, but you have to learn to get a driver's license. It was of no use to him. Meixiu felt warm in her heart and said, okay. There was a smile on her face, like a spring breeze. Qianziang regretted that he would not have brought up this topic if he had known it earlier. It was really a shame that his wife was not around. He Eniong stared outside and pretended not to have seen it. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 357. Chapter 357, Meeting Parents 1. After returning home, Grandma He's meals had been prepared long ago. If it hadn't been for the high temperature in Shenzhen City, these meals would have been cold. Qianziang stayed in Shenzhen City for more than half a month, during which he lived in He's house. This place is much more comfortable than staying in a hotel. Hians was speechless at this shameless person. Fortunately, he did not affect the intimacy between him and Xiaoxiu, otherwise he would definitely be kicked out. Xiaoxiu, Qianziang is leaving today, let's go and see him off. When he got up early in the morning, Hians hugged his wife, which was very satisfying. Mei Shui was still a little unconscious, so she whimpered and fell asleep again. Xiaoxiu, Hians has been so busy lately, and it's rare to see his daughter-in-law acting so petty. He immediately became playful. If you don't get up again, why don't we? He put his mouth close to her ear and breathed into her ear. Mei Shui was very annoyed. That's enough for you. If you keep making trouble with me, you will sleep with Xiao and the others. This man is really over the top. He opened a dyeing shop for 3 points of color. How can you be so cruel? I am your man. She would not know how powerful her man is without her husband. So, Mei Shui was eaten dry and wiped clean again early in the morning. Qian Xiang was having breakfast when he got up. They were all young people. How could he not know what these two people had done? You guys are really energetic, Qian Xiang said bitterly. Can he not be sour? Now he is getting busier and busier at work, and his wife refuses to be with him, which makes him miserable. Of course Hian's was shameless. I can't even shut your mouth with food. Do you want to go to heaven? Mei Shui hated him so much. After breakfast, Mei Shui and Hian sent Qian Xiang to the train station. There is no other way. Qian Xiang has too many things to do and has to leave. In addition, the Intercontinental Hotel in Shenzhen City is being watched by his capable men. Why should he be worried? After waving his hands twice, Hians took Mei Shui and left the train station. Xiaoxiu, are we going back to the village for the Chinese New Year this year? The two of them walked hand in hand among the crowd, a rare day of leisure. Mei Shui really wanted to go back, but unfortunately, the New Year's holiday was too short, and Xiao and the others would not be able to stay long before school would start. They were so busy that they had nothing to do, and she was afraid that Grandma wouldn't be able to bear it. Even if Grandma takes care of her, people are getting older and older, and their mental energy cannot be squandered like this. I won't go back. Xiao and the others will start school on the 16th of the first lunar month, and I'm afraid the roads will be too crowded by then. You are worried about Grandma. He understood his daughter-in-law. I think Grandma might want to go back to the village more, Hian said with certainty. Mei Shui felt very uncomfortable. How could she not know what her grandma was thinking? But now she was responsible not only for her grandma, but also for her 3 children. In the past, she would definitely not be so entangled, but now, maybe because she has become more emotionally aware, she has more and more ideas. She is becoming less and less like her before. I know, but, Mei Shui was in a dilemma. Hians knew better. Well, how about we ask Grandma when we go back? If she wants to go back, we can go back. Anyway, there will be nothing to do during the New Year. Everyone is not too busy during the Chinese New Year, and it is a rare holiday. When I got home, Grandma also came back and bought a lot of things. Seeing these things, Mei Shui was a little confused. Grandma, why did you buy these things? These are all for home use. Grandma, he rolled her eyes at Xiaoxiu and said, you forgot, Anyang and Xiaoyi are going to meet their parents, and Anyang has no relatives here, so I can't go. When she got busy, she really didn't care about anything. Mei Shui was shocked. Did Anyang succeed? She just didn't expect that this kid could really succeed. No, I heard that the woman's family is very satisfied with him. However, I still have to go and see her. Xiao Ai is a good kid. I don't know if her parents are as good as they say. Of course, I have to be responsible for my introduction. I'll go with you. This is a good thing. Of course she will go. Let's all go together. Ans, please don't be busy tomorrow. You can go tomorrow too. Tomorrow happens to be the end of the week. Xiao and the others are not going to school, so they will go. The more people in the family go, it proves that they are more interested in the woman. There is no way. If we were in the village, the people who came would be elders, but here they are the only big family. Grandma, why don't you inform Aunt Yang and the others? Hians was a little worried. Aunt Yang was not easy to get along with. Don't worry, I called your Aunt Yang a long time ago. She said it was too far and she wouldn't come. But if we make a reservation, she still hopes that they will go back to the village to serve the wine. Grandma, he glared at Ans angrily. Is she such a colorless person? Your parents are both here, so you can't go past them no matter what. The phone call had been made a long time ago, but unfortunately they couldn't come, and since it was so far away, they didn't want to come. It wasn't long before the new year, and the village was very busy. It's not that they don't pay attention to it, but they really have the intention but are powerless. That's good. If I have nothing to do tomorrow, I will go to the station to take a look and then come back, Hans replied, thinking about his own business. That's good, let's go. Xiaoxiu will accompany me to buy some more cloth. These cloths are for the girl's parents. Grandma, he was very familiar with this matter. Okay, Mei Shui also became interested. As soon as he Eniang came back, he found that the living room was full of things, all covered with red paper. He knew what was going on at a glance. He said with an embarrassed look on his face, Grandma, I'm sorry to trouble you. He sincerely thanked the third grandma. What are you talking about, brat? You have to behave well tomorrow, or I'll beat you to death. Grandma, he rolled her eyes at him angrily. How old are you? It's hard to find a wife, so don't do it to me. Lost it? The words are filled with concern both inside and outside. Well, I will do my best and not embarrass you, Grandma. I don't know where he started, but he Eniang no longer called the third grandma, but Grandma. That's good, go to the kitchen and help brother and your sister-in-law, and I have to pack a few red envelopes. Red envelopes are hidden in things, and these are all very particular. Grandma, he has already figured out the rules of Shenzhen city around her, so she is not afraid of offending the woman's relatives. How much do these things cost, Grandma? I'll give you the money later, he Eniang said with a silly smile on his face. Grandma, he took one look at it, picked up the thing at hand and threw it away. You, is this old lady short of money? He Eniang picked it up and beat it. Fortunately, he remembered it. Not daring to say anything, he went straight into the kitchen. He Eniang glanced at him. He heard what was said outside just now, you deserve it. Brother Ans, he Eniang looked aggrieved. I can't let Grandma contribute both effort and money. She was very happy. But it's not that much, but just think of it as a thank you for helping Xiaoxiu manage the store in the past few years. He knew that Anyang was a good person. Compared to the He family, the Li family is much cooler. Xiao, as you know about our relatives, tomorrow, Father Li looked embarrassed. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 358. Chapter 358, Meeting Parents 2. Ever since he became ill and borrowed money, almost all the relatives in the family have lost their money. In the past, he didn't have much idea. He just thought it would be cut off and no one would owe him anything. But now, he is afraid of embarrassing his daughter. Dad, it's okay, he won't mind. She had already told He Eniang about this. This way he can save money. Li Hei smiled and hugged his parents. Father Li and Mother Li had a loving look on their faces. Xiao, you two must live a good life in the future, and don't act petty, Mother Li warned her one by one. The more Li's father listened, the angrier he became. Why don't we just not get married? He couldn't bear to see his daughter suffer. What are you talking about? Your daughter is already old and she is not married yet. Do you want her to become an old girl? Mother Li glared at her man angrily. You're not married yet, why are you so anxious? Li's mother cared for her daughter just as much as he did. But now that we have recognized each other, what's the difference between getting married? In Shenzhen City, recognizing someone is to meet their parents and then confirm their marriage. The next step is to get engaged, and after the engagement is to get married. Calculated, it will be completed within the next year. How can this not make him sad? He couldn't bear to have his daughter, whom he had raised for 20 years, get married off like this. Li Hei watched her parents bickering, with happiness on their faces. Mom and Dad, don't worry. Even if I get married, I will still live in Shenzhen City, and I'm not far from you. Loyalty and righteousness are in a dilemma, but fortunately they all live in Shenzhen City. That's it? It's in Shenzhen anyway. If you miss your daughter then just go and see her. Mother Li also looked at her man with a smile on her face. It's not as good as my own home. What's wrong with you? This is not good, and that is not good, so what do you want? Can I recruit a son-in-law for you? Mother Li was angry. Li Hai looked at her father's slump, covered his mouth and laughed. Dad, you are going to be disappointed. He is the eldest son in the family, and it is impossible for him to come to the door. Girl, don't be angry with your dad. Do you still want to have a good time tomorrow? Mother Li knocked her daughter on the head in annoyance. But we have to discuss the reception tomorrow, and it can't just be a few people in the family. Okay, let's get down to business. We have to stay with the in-laws for dinner tomorrow. Her dad, do you think we should eat at home or go out? Mother Li began to discuss it seriously. Li Hai did not speak out to persuade her about this matter, but she felt very sweet. Don't go out to eat, just eat at home. Let's go to Aunt Wang next door to discuss it later and ask her to come over and help you cook a meal together. Father Li also started to think seriously. Is this good? Mother Li was a little worried. There's nothing wrong with it. Didn't you notify them and no one came over? That's it? Go and ask Aunt Wang and the chef's red envelope will be bigger tomorrow. Father Li was really cold-hearted towards his brothers and sisters. Sure, I will give Aunt Wang the red envelopes from both men and women tomorrow. Mother Li agreed with her face. In Shenzhen City, for such a meal, red envelopes are given to the cooks in the kitchen. Normally everyone shares the red envelope together, but the Li family's situation is different. This red envelope is given to Aunt Wang alone. This night, everyone had sweet dreams. Hyans didn't dare to make too much noise in the snow at night, and held her quietly until dawn. Xiao and his 3 little kids were the first to get up. After finishing the morning exercises, I started shouting at home, Mom, Dad, get up quickly. Uncle Anyang is getting up. Madam, are you up? So, everyone was called up by them. You brats, what are you calling me so early in the morning? Hyans opened the door after being woken up, picked up Xiao Cheng and slapped him hard twice on the buttocks. Dad, it's already dawn, today we are going to see Aunt Yang. Xiao Cheng explained to himself seriously. Dad. Dad. Xiao Peng and Xiao ran over immediately when they saw their father getting up. Where's Mom, aren't you up yet? Xiao reached out to open the door. Hyans immediately stopped him and said, Mom is getting dressed. She will come out in a while. Come on, let's make breakfast first. Mixu in the room also got up amidst the laughter of several children, changed her clothes and came out. Grandma just walked out of the room and said, Good morning, Grandma. Grandma, he is very energetic today. She is wearing a bright red dress with a pair of black wide leg pants, which looks very fashionable. Xiaoxiu, you're so early. After seeing Xiaoxiu wearing a festive outfit, Grandma, he said with a smile on her face, Xiaoxiu looks really good in what she wears today. Grandma is also very beautiful. The 2 women began to blow at each other. When He Anyang opened the door and came out, he saw 2 beaming people. Sister-in-law, Grandma, why are you dressed like this? It's not the Chinese New Year, isn't it too festive? Seeing He Anyang's eyes, both Mei Shui and Grandma glared at him fiercely. Since today is your special day, Grandma, I won't slap you. After saying that, she shook her heroic short hair. Just walk away. Mei Shui also rolled her eyes at He Anyang. Let's see who this is for. Can she say that Grandma chose this outfit? What she dislikes the most is red. Really, nothing is uglier than red. He Anyang touched his nose with a silly smile and followed immediately. After breakfast, He Anyang carried a load each. Grandma, he and Mei Shui were very simple. They each carried a basket in their hands, holding hands with Xiao Peng and Xiao Cheng. Xiao was old enough to see the road by himself. This place is still a long way from Li's house. Hian's originally planned to go to the station to take a look today, but his grandma had a sudden idea last night and asked him to drive a car here last night. It is a jeep that he usually uses when working, but rarely drives it home because people at the station also use it. Putting things in the car, Hian sat in the driver's cab, while An Yang was the protagonist today and sat in the passenger cab. "Uncle Yang, why have you been laughing today?" Xiao Cheng stared at He Anyang with a puzzled expression and asked. Xiao Peng also stretched his head forward. "Yes, brother, look, Uncle Yang smiles so treacherously, just like the teacher in our class when giving homework. These children have suffered a lot in school recently, and those homeworks are really annoying to them, but for adults, writing big characters is really not a hard homework. It's just that these two children are getting lazier now that Mr. Wu is no longer watching." Xiao patted his brother and said, "Stop talking nonsense and sit tight." If he hadn't covered his mouth and laughed. "What does it mean to be treacherous?" "Xiao Peng, have you read all your books in vain?" He Anyang felt a little embarrassed and immediately retorted. Grandma He and Mei Shui laughed when they heard their conversation. "Okay, don't make trouble, today is your Uncle Yang's big day, you have to give your Uncle Yang some credit later." End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 359. Chapter 359, No Worse Than Your Sister-in-Law. That's right, you have to find an aunt for your Uncle Yang, otherwise your Grandma Yang will have no place to cry. Mei Shui held Xiao Peng in her arms with her backhand and told him not to move around. A carload of people walked toward He Anyang's house, chatting and laughing. The Li family also got up early and started getting ready at home. Aunt Wang went out early in the morning to buy groceries for the Li family. When she received the news last night, she was really happy for the Li family. They have been old neighbors for decades, and everyone knows that the Li family girl is a good girl, but it is a pity that she has a sick father at home. Because their family only had one daughter, many people who wanted to come to ask for marriage stopped in their tracks. No one wants to marry a daughter-in-law and bring a whole family and a sick person back home. The conditions of the Li family are not particularly good. To put it bluntly, the conditions of the Li family are really bad. It is their luck that they did not starve to death. It wasn't until Father Li's health got better that his employer gave him a job as a janitor, and this finally stabilized the family. After my daughter grew up, she found a job last year, and the family was finally relieved of all the hardships, but there was still a lot of foreign debt. Now that the girl finally has a partner, how can Aunt Wang not be happy for them? The Li family also gave a lot of money, so she had to make good preparations for today's banquet. Even if it was not as good as other families, it was because of their intentions. With Aunt Wang's help, Mother Li's burden has been eased a lot, but she still has a lot to do. Her father, "Please help me move this table out quickly, people will be here soon." Mother Li was arranging the tables and chairs at home. Father Li was limping because of an injury to one of his feet. He walked slowly because he could not use the injured foot. "Okay, I'll be right over." He dropped the things in his hands and walked into the main room. After a busy day of work, the tables and chairs were finally placed at home. Li Hai also got up early to clean up her yard. Chickens were fed in the yard, so she had to clean the yard and lock up the chickens. There is no time to rest in the morning. It wasn't until Aunt Wang came back from shopping for groceries that the household affairs were sorted out, and the three women immediately started working in the kitchen. By the time He Anyang and his party came to the door, they had finally finished their work. Dong dong. He Anyang nervously clenched his fists, but did not dare to knock on the door too hard. Seeing that he was so worthless, Grandma He pulled him away and said, "You look like a worthless man. Go away and let me do it." At Grandma He's knock on the door, there was finally a reaction inside. One can imagine how much effort He Anyang used. Coming, coming. Hearing the sound, Li Hai ran out immediately. Opening the door, her face turned red when she saw the people outside, but the host's politeness made her react immediately. Grandma He, you are here, come on, come in quickly. She knew everyone who came and greeted them one by one, brother He, sister Mei Shui. When Xiao and the others saw Aunt Yang calling them, they immediately shouted happily, "Hello Aunt Yang," the three of them said in unison. The sound was a bit loud, which directly alarmed the people around and in the courtyard. Hearing the sound, Mother Li came out and said, "Why are you standing outside? Hurry, come in the house, it's very windy outside." "Haha, okay, okay, in-laws." Grandma He handed the basket directly to He Anyang, took Mother Li's hand and followed her into the courtyard. The arrival of the He family made the Li family busy again. Mother Li could no longer help Aunt Wang and had to accompany her in-laws. "Sit down quickly. There are few people at home. Don't be offended. You also know the situation at home. I am neglecting you." Mother Li immediately apologized. After those years, Grandma He couldn't bear to look away. "Don't talk about these things. As long as Xiao and Anyang live a good life in the future, it is better than anything else. Don't worry, those people will regret it." Seeing her in-laws understand her so well, Mother Li felt a little embarrassed. Father Li received He Ans and He Anyang. His words were not so direct, but he was very satisfied with He Anyang. Li Hai was busy pouring tea for everyone. Mei Shui saw her working alone and immediately went to help. Aunt Wang, who was pretending to be passing by, was very satisfied with the family and muttered that Xiao had found a good partner. Xiao and the others quickly adapted to the environment in the courtyard and immediately started playing without being polite at all. It made Li's parents very happy. At noon, everyone had a casual meal, mainly because Grandma He was there to discuss matters between the two of them with the Li family. Mei Shui saw that she couldn't help, so she went directly to the kitchen. With the situation of the Li family here, Aunt Wang cannot be allowed to handle the meals for so many people by herself. "My dear, my family is in such a situation. I'm afraid Anyang will be wronged in the future," Mother Li said with a smile on her face. "I have to laugh, it's just that the man's conditions are too good. As my in-laws just said, they will settle in Shenzhen City from now on. If they go back to their hometown for the New Year or the holidays, they may go back. Anyang is a capable person, and a small village cannot contain him. As well as the engagement matters, all matters will be handled here, and He Anyang's parents and brothers will come over then. During the Chinese New Year, Li Hai may have to go back to the village to hold an engagement party. The Li family's parents have no objections to this matter at all. There was also the engagement ceremony, which also made them very satisfied. No, it should be said that they were too satisfied. There was no one in the surrounding area that could compare with it. It is just like what Aunt Wang said before, Xiao fell into the nest of fortune. After everything is satisfied, the parents will have a good meal. Xiao and the others also received a big red envelope when they left. They like Aunt Yang even more for this. After a busy meal, we have to make arrangements for the engagement. It's not long before the Chinese New Year, and the woman has to arrange the drinks first. So He Anyang immediately called his parents and asked them to come over quickly after being beaten by Grandma He. As soon as Aunt Yang heard that her son was getting engaged, she immediately took action without saying anything. When the people in the village saw her so busy, they all became curious and asked. When I learned that He Anyang was getting engaged and that he was a girl from a big city, everyone was very envious. It took 3 or 4 days for He Jianbei and his family to arrive in Huaishan City. As soon as they arrived, they were dumbfounded. "Isn't it too prosperous here? Mom, what kind of person do you think my sister-in-law is?" He Anwei asked curiously. Aunt Yang rolled her eyes. She had never met her daughter-in-law. If she had known she would get engaged so quickly, she would have come here early last time. How do I know? I haven't seen it, but I believe that your third grandma's vision is no worse than that of your sister-in-law. Well, in Aunt Young's heart, her son deserves the best wife. Remember to vote and subscribe. Thank you, dear ones. Thank you very much. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 360. Chapter 360, Uneasiness. Hianwei curled his lips and rolled his eyes in his heart. No one in this world who can compare with his sister-in-law has been born yet. Stop talking, hurry up, and Wei holds your brother, and we'll go out first and talk. There are so many people here, so I'm not afraid of being overheard. However, he also agreed with his wife that her third aunt's vision was not bad. Even if it is not as good as Xiaoxiu, it is not far behind. After leaving the station, she saw her son from a distance. There was nothing she could do about it, her son was just so outstanding. Yang-er, Mom is here. Aunt Yang waved her hand, holding a bag in her hand. Had it not been for the shrillness of her voice, I wouldn't have been able to recognize her. It was just because the bag was too big that it blocked her face. Hianyang didn't see his mother coming, but he heard the voice and squeezed through the crowd. Mom, why did you bring so many things? Hianyang complained and asked after taking the bag from his parents. His heart felt warm and painful after traveling so far and carrying so many things. These are all the things you will need for your engagement. Some of my mothers have brought them here this time. If you want to buy a house when you get married, save as much as you can. Aunt Yang may not be so kind to others, but she treats her own children. Love me more than anyone else. Whether it is the eldest son who is going out, the second son who lives in the village, or the youngest son, they are all the same in her heart. Hian Cheng is also 18 years old this year and will take the college entrance examination soon. He is no shorter than his eldest and second brothers. Brother, is your sister-in-law pretty? Hian Cheng immediately stepped forward and asked when he saw his eldest brother. Teenagers in adolescence all love beauty. Hian Wei slapped him in the face and said, "What are you thinking about? If you weren't pretty, would you like me? This brother is really stupid." Okay, let's not talk about this for now. Let's go home first and then talk about it later. There are so many people here, and it's not a place to talk. With his parents and brothers, Hianyang got into the car that Brother Ans found for him. There is no way, Brother Ans is busy today, otherwise he would come over to pick up people together. Getting on the jeep, whether it was An Wei, An Chang, or He Jianbei, they all looked at each other and touched each other. This is the first time they have made such a vehicle. They have only made trucks in the past, so the difference is quite big. Brother, does this car belong to Brother Ans? An Wei asked aloud. Of course, your brother. I can't afford this car. Even if he wants to buy it, he doesn't know how many years he will have to wait. Brother Ans has said that this car is not cheap. It's okay, it's okay. Mom will buy it for you after a few years, Aunt Yang said in a loud voice. And Yang also understood what he was thinking. Mom will be fine. When I make money in the future, I will buy a drive for you, and his dad can drive. You, don't think about us. You have a family now, so don't do anything to embarrass your wife. He Jianbei didn't want these things to affect Yangzi. Aunt Yang also agreed, that's right, Mom can't use a car in the village, so just take care of yourself. Life in the city is not easy. We were chatting and laughing in the car and soon arrived at his house. Because Hianyang's place is small and cannot accommodate a family of 4, so I brought him over directly, and Grandma he agreed. Mom, knock on the door quickly. The third grandma is at home. He didn't go to the village today, and his sister-in-law went over to keep an eye on him. Xiao and the others had not come back from school, so the third grandma was the only one left at home. "Hey, Mom is going to knock right now." Aunt Yang wiped her hands for fear of dirtying the door. Grandma he had been waiting at home for a long time. She knew someone was coming when she heard the sound of the car, so she came directly to open the door. No, the door opened before Niang's mother could knock. "Stop knocking, I heard it all, come on, come in." Grandma he stepped aside and let people in first. Third Aunt He Jianbei and Aunt Yang called. And Wei and Anchang also called third grandma. "Okay, come in quickly. You're tired from working on the car. Sit down and take a rest first." Seeing relatives in a foreign country. Unfortunately, Grandma He's enthusiasm was destined to be disappointed. Seeing how enthusiastic she was, everyone at the door was dumbfounded, and none of them dared to move. Even He Niang was shocked. Is the third grandma possessed by an evil spirit? He Jianbei and the others were all frightened. "Third aunt, have we done something wrong again?" He Jianbei asked anxiously. Grandma he was stunned, and then patted herself on the head. "You guys are really indebted. I can't even treat you any better." After saying that, she turned around and left, not forgetting to curse, "Get out of here quickly." Now everyone feels at ease, otherwise they would really not dare to enter. Seeing them like this, Grandma he glared at them angrily. "You guys, it's really, I don't even know what to say to you, and I'm not happy to be nice to you. Hey, isn't this not something I'm used to? I think it's more friendly now." Aunt Yang stood obediently and looked at the third aunt and replied. Hianwei accepted it as normal. "Third grandma, don't blame my parents. I thought you were possessed just now." Hearing these words, Grandma he started pumping her without saying a word. "It makes everyone feel more friendly as soon as you smoke it." "Yes, that's it." "Third aunt, please keep your hands, he's itchy." He Jianbei looked very happy. "Dad, you can't avenge yourself. Besides, my sister-in-law entrusted me with all the work in the village, and I didn't take your job." How could he and Wei not understand his father? Didn't you just steal his original job? Do you need to keep holding a grudge like this? They are biologically related as father and son. "Third grandma, you have to make the decision for me." Hianwei was not afraid that third grandma would slap him, so he directly hugged third grandma's arm. "Behave in a spoiled manner. The atmosphere has finally been restored." Grandma he also started to talk about business. "Okay, now you are here just in time. Let's take the girl to buy some jewelry tomorrow. I don't know much about what kind of hardware is required here in Shenzhen City, but the Li family is not the kind of meat eater. You don't have to be too careful. Worry." After explaining the conditions for the woman's engagement here, Grandma he began to give instructions. "Third aunt, I have money at home, but I still have to have you with me when the time comes, otherwise I won't understand." She really didn't understand the first time, and she wouldn't be afraid if she followed the village's rules. But this is Shenzhen City, and she is afraid that she will embarrass her son if she does not do well. Seeing her like this, Grandma he sighed. "I'll go with you, but you don't have to do this. She is your daughter-in-law anyway. Don't think that because she is from the city, you should give in everywhere. You should pay back the mother-in-law's due. Gotta take it?" In fact, the people in the village are really simple, and there are very few people who are thoughtful, but it is not impossible. As for Jianbei's wife, she only has a bad mouth, but otherwise she is really, as she said, with a kind heart. Otherwise I wouldn't be so anxious now. Please give me monthly votes, recommend votes, and subscribe. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 361. Chapter 361, What about this? Is this good? Aunt Yang was still a little worried. What's wrong? You are the mother. She must be filial to you no matter what, but don't go too far. Don't be like your old lady. Otherwise, I will be the first to disagree, Grandma, he said calmly. Aunt Yang nodded. Don't worry, I'm not that kind of person. Besides, she is the only one in her family. She must have been loved and loved since she was a child. I don't have a daughter, so I won't treat her badly. The premise is that she must be filial. As long as you understand this, let's have a meal together after our work tomorrow. I went to meet your parents last time on your behalf. This time you come, you have to do something good for yourself. After all, I didn't get along with her all the time. He Jianbei and his wife both listened very carefully. He Anyang felt a little guilty. His mother was a strong person, but now she has become so worried about gains and losses for him. He is really unfilial. Mom, don't worry, Xiaoi is very good, her tutor is very good, she won't get along with you at this time. He finally understood what Brother Ans meant when he asked him to buy a house. Living separately is good for both parents and him. Xiaoyang, you have to be nice to me, otherwise why would a city girl marry a rural person like you? Aunt Yang was afraid that her son would think too much, and it would be bad if he had thoughts about his daughter-in-law. Your father and I won't be with you every day. You have to live your own life. It's up to you to decide whether a person is good or not. If you are unreliable here, I still have two sons. One of them must be filial. Yes, so it's not as bad as yours. That's what I said. Who is a mother who doesn't want her children to be filial? Mom, how could you say that? How could your son not care about you? Don't worry. If it comes to this, I will definitely not let you be wronged. It's not that he is partial, but that he owes his parents. You cannot hurt your parents even if you suffer yourself. Besides, his parents are not bad to him. For him, everything in the house that could be sold was sold, and a lot of money was borrowed at the beginning. If he is unfilial, is he still a human being? Okay, why are you talking about this on a happy day? Don't you still believe my vision, old lady? Grandma, he immediately interrupted their conversation. I'm afraid I'll cry if I keep talking. Your in-laws are also easy to get along with, at least better than you, Grandma. He glared at Jianbei's wife in annoyance. Aunt Yang smiled naively. Third aunt, look at what you said, I'm not bad either. With your virtue, I didn't know what Jianbei saw in you at the beginning. Yes, it's so friendly. The feeling of the village is back. Don't eat at home at noon. I didn't come back from buying groceries in the morning. We went out to pick them up, which is to catch the wind for you. Today Anyang picks you up, Xiaoxiu will take over his job, and Ans also has to go to work, so don't be surprised. What should be said clearly must be said clearly. Third aunt, why don't we go buy some food now? It's so expensive to eat out now that Yangzi is getting married, everything needs money, so save as much as you can. Come on, I'm happy today and I'll treat you to dinner. Grandma, he decided the matter with a wave of her hand. After tidying up, he Anyang let his three brothers live together in the small house over there, while he Jianbei and his wife lived in the He family. There is no other way, there are not enough rooms at home. At noon, Grandma he was not too stingy and took them directly to the Intercontinental Hotel, which can be regarded as the most luxurious hotel in this area. Whether it is eating or staying, there is no better place than here. Third aunt, isn't it too expensive to eat here? When they arrived at the door, Aunt Yang lost her courage and asked with a worried look on her face. It's okay, Mom, I know this place. It's the Intercontinental Hotel, Boss Jian's Hotel. Hianwei recognized where this place was as soon as he saw the words on the door. Ah, how did Aunt Yang know this? She only knew that Boss Jian ran a restaurant, but this place was too luxurious. Let's go, the children have no future yet. Grandma he directly grabbed Jianbei's wife, pulled her and walked inside. The old lady has come here not once or twice, and everyone who patrols the store at the door knows her. Mrs. He, you are here, please come in quickly. He, Xiao Huang, find me a private room, I want to treat my nephew's family to dinner today, Grandma, he said cheerfully when she saw an acquaintance. Yes, I don't know how many people there are, do you want a bigger box? Xiao Huang asked. Grandma, he shook her head, no, just the smaller ones will do, just us. Xiao Huang glanced at the person behind the old lady and didn't show any other expression. It was very normal. Okay, let's go to the second floor, there is a small private room on the second floor. After someone arranges it, the next thing becomes easier. Each of them ordered some dishes they wanted to eat, and then started chatting. After lunch, Grandma He took them around again. He Anyong was arranged by Grandma He to take them away to make arrangements for tomorrow. And Wei and his two brothers were also taken away. Look, we will buy things here tomorrow. The price is quite reasonable and the store is big. This is the store I have been looking for a long time. Grandma He had already gone out to look around. Looking at the items displayed in the store, Aunt Yang didn't dare to go in. Is it really not expensive here? She was a little worried. Don't worry, it won't cost much, let's go in and have a look. He Zhenbei is just a supporting character, and he is not qualified to speak. The only thing he can do is help third aunt carry her things. As soon as we entered the gold store, a shopping guide came to greet us. When he saw that he was an acquaintance, the shopping guide's face lit up with a smile. Old lady, you are here again, is this your nephew's wife? The little shopping guide said with a smile on his face. No, bring her over today to have a look. We are going to buy something tomorrow and get engaged, so we have to take a look first. Sure, please come with me. Aunt Yang had never seen such a good thing before, and her heart began to move as she looked at it. Third aunt, the things are very nice, but the price, if it were cheap, she would want to buy a necklace to wear. It would definitely be the most honorable thing to go back to the village. When the shopping guide next to him heard this, he immediately comforted himself and said, Auntie, don't worry, our prices here are famous for being fair. If you don't believe it, just ask the old lady, she has done some shopping around. Grandma He nodded, this girl is right about this. How much does this cost? Aunt Yang asked, pointing to a necklace on the side. The shopping guide took a look at it and said, this one is about more than 700 yuan, but this one is suitable for you, Auntie. You can tell who this product is for just by looking at the sample selection. Upon hearing the price of 700 yuan, Aunt Yang breathed a sigh of relief. It's okay, it's not too expensive. What about this? He pointed to a big gold bracelet on the side. Where's this? A pair of earrings. Where is this? A thicker necklace. Where is this? A big gold ring. Hearing the quotation, Aunt Yang made a calculation in her mind. If we calculated it all together, it would be less than 3,000 or 4,000, which is not bad, and the family can still afford it. End of this chapter.